Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dreams Unlimited Travel Podcast. My name is John Magi, and I will be your host. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the 17 reasons to visit Walt Disney World in 2017. I'm joined at the table by our panel of experts. Agent Consultant for Dreams Unlimited Travel, Tracey Heinrich.
Hi, everyone.
Client Services Manager for Dreams Unlimited Travel, Kevin Klose.
Howdy.
And back in our production facility, we have our Associate Producer, Oliver Green.
Hello.
Again, welcome everybody. Thank you guys for being here and joining us. It is no secret that we record these shows in advance. So this is actually the first show we're recording in 2017. So
It is. I think this is the first time we've done this since November.
yeah, we kind
So lots happened.
Yep.
Lots happened since we've been at the table.
we did a lot of shows in advance so that we could have some time off, and we also didn't do a couple of shows for a couple of weeks. So nice to be back. What do you think, Kevin?
I think it's wonderful. Wait, was that not good?
No, it was not
Some
sincere
things
at
stay
all.
the same.
Exactly.
I think that's the best you're going to get. You want me to do another take?
No, that's okay. We don't have time. All right. So one of the things we want to do for our first show of the new year is talk a little bit about what's coming up in 2017. The next couple of shows will actually be focused on things to look forward to. You might start planning now. A lot of people plan now for their travels through this year and even into next year. So we want to make sure we cover some of those topics and give you some information. This particular show, 17 Reasons to Visit Walt Disney World in 2017, actually came about because of the website that we use as travel agents, offered to us by Disney, put out this article. And I thought, well, this would be an interesting thing for us to discuss. Let's see if, first of all, we think they are reasons to visit Walt Disney World in 2017. Some of them are a little bit thin. And second is...
Like the three of us here at the table.
Is right, like we're very thin, especially after the holidays. And another thing is that some of us had a chance to experience these things. So we can talk about them firsthand, but maybe it'll help people plan their year going forward. So shall we get started?
Let's do it.
All right. The first one on the list is Star Wars, A Galactic Spectacular. Fireworks at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Dun, 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 dun. This is the fireworks show at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It's brand new. For Hollywood Studios, what's really neat is they've used new technology. They've used the projections, and they're using lasers and pyrotechnics in a complete show about Star Wars.
It's interesting that they've put that on this list this year since they've been offering it for several months now. I've done it twice. I've never seen a Star Wars movie up until the point where my husband made me watch Rogue One. I won't get into that, but I did see Rogue One. But until that, I had never seen a Star Wars movie in my life. I loved this show. I honestly, when I saw it, thought, and I said, I think this is the best I've seen Disney do in a real long time.
I was going to say, I actually think that for the Star Wars fan, this is a really good show. But if you're not a Star Wars fan, then that
I am not a Star Wars fan at all. And I thought the quality of what they did with this show and the way they do the projections and the entire production of it, I thought it was fantastic.
Kevin,
I
you saw
have
it.
begrudgingly seen all of them. And I am not a Star Wars fan. I've made that perfectly clear in case you weren't sure. But I thought this was great.
Yeah.
First of all, if you're not a Star Wars fan, I thought this was telling a story. And then you realize that there's virtually no story at all. It's clips from all the different movies. But it's an immersive experience. There's fireworks, there's projections. They actually use the trees in Hollywood studios. There's fireworks off in the background, so it looks like a battle. And it's an immersive experience, and you do not have to be a Star Wars fan to appreciate it.
Absolutely not. I proved that. And I had not seen any when I had done this. So Rogue One happened after I had done the dessert. And speaking of the dessert party itself, I also thought that was well done. It's pricier than some other dessert parties. It does include alcohol. There are alcohol beverages served for adults during the party. But again, I did it twice, and I really thought it was worth the money both times. Right. The show, I don't think the studios is set up for this type of show like Main Street is when they're doing shows around the castle. So there's not as much space. So I found having the dessert party and having the designated space to watch the show made it worth it. the desserts and a drink before was just kind of icing on the cake for us.
What Tracy's talking about is there's an extra event, something you can pay for in addition to your park entry and just seeing the fireworks. The fireworks are free. The show is free, but you can go to the dessert party. And as Tracy mentioned, it's a private area. It's set to the side. They serve desserts and drinks, and it's a way for you to view the fireworks from a special location.
And the pricing, as of the last time I checked, and keep in mind, pricing with Disney changes a lot, but it was $69 per adult and $39 per child ages 3 to 9.
Which in the Disney sphere is not expensive.
It's not. And I know we kind of get in that bubble sometimes and we think, oh, okay, well, that's good value. It's all relative. But I have found, and since doing it, I've had a number of clients do it that I suggested it to, and they've all come back with the same report. They thought it was wonderful.
Now, when we did it, we just bought a bucket of popcorn and sat on a bench until the show started, and we still thought we got a good view.
And I also want to address, too, you said about space. We watched it from midway down Hollywood Boulevard.
And you were still...
I thought we had a fantastic show. Yeah. I realized we missed some of the stuff on the far end.
Well, the other thing that happens, too, there's a height differential.
That is true, yes.
So,
we had a chance to see a lot.
Right. So for me, and I know the second time we had done it, Chris was in the chair because he still had his broken ankle. So there was visual issues that way. But for me, I think sometimes what I think is a good viewing spot usually differs from other people who are taller than the average child.
That's true. And I just want to add one more thing. What I think is really great about this show is it really fits in Hollywood studios.
I agree.
You know, I love Sorcery in the Sky, but it was just fireworks and music from Disney movies, which is any other fireworks show. Right. This is really a cool use of sort of the movie theming where we're playing movies on the
This is a show with fireworks included, I would say.
I would agree with that.
I would not go, you go to Disney and you see fireworks. I would not say this is fireworks. I would say you're seeing a show and fireworks are part of it.
We had seen Disneyland Paris, their castle show, their fireworks show. And again, they can't rely so much on fireworks. I think there's some ordnance involved. And we loved the way they were using projection and different things.
That's still the best one I've ever seen.
I would agree with that. And then, but I thought the Star Wars show kind of got a little close to that with the way they were using projections and lasers and not making the fireworks the star.
Right.
I think when fireworks aren't the star, it makes them look at other avenues or other ways to do things.
More creative.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think this is a reason to visit in 17 for sure. This is definitely something to add to your list of park events. All right, moving on. Number 2, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, inspired additions to Star Wars Launch Bay. This is basically props, quote unquote, some of them are real, some of them are not, from the movie Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I have not been, I have not seen them. Not really one of those people who has to go and see costumes and props from a movie.
As long as you're coming for the fireworks, go see those.
Right, exactly.
But don't come see this and not see the fireworks.
Oliver, did you go and do this? I know Rhino did it.
No, I didn't, unfortunately, but I know that Rhino enjoyed it immensely. It's completely up his alley.
Rhino likes the Power Rangers.
He likes all sorts. From what I gathered from him, he said it was quite interesting. It would appeal to a lot of people. Stuff like this tends to feel a bit museumy, and it doesn't feel like that at all. They dressed it up very well. They made it interesting. Everything was labeled from where it was from, what film. He said it was something that could be enjoyed by everyone, which I thought was nice. So.
Yeah, and I think enjoyed by everyone is...
Chocolate.
I think it's a broad statement.
Chocolate is
because
enjoyed by
my
everyone.
husband also told me Rogue One was a standalone that could be enjoyed by everyone. So I think, but I do think...
We are so going to get hate mail.
We are. But I do think, and I'm trying to put myself in that position of a person who is a fan of this and try to think if it was something I was a fan of. I think it's really cool. I don't know that reason alone, if you took that out of the list of 17, would be the one to say, that's the reason I'm going this year.
If this was stuff
But
from
I think
Downton Abbey, I'd be excited.
Yeah. I think it was certainly in collaboration with some of the other things that are going on at the studios in the Star Wars area. I think it's a good add-on.
Well, here's the thing for me. You can choose how much time you want to spend there. So if you're there for 5 minutes, that's interesting enough for me.
Right.
For Rhino, he might have spent, 5 hours there. So
Right, exactly.
you can gauge your own time.
What's really nice is this is in the sort of theme of how I used to view the studios. Remember when they had
Yes,
the dresses,
exactly.
the AFI dress display?
American Film Institute.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like that. Everything about the movies now at the studios. So
Right.
I think it's nice that the studios is going back to that.
I miss that.
Yeah. While we're on break, I'd like Kevin to write down the list of props he would like from Downton Abbey to be on display. I'd be curious about what that list looks like. All right, moving on to number 3. Magic Bands 2 rolls out. Woo! New Magic Bands, yay!
This is kind of like new phone books.
Exactly. The new phone books are here.
You know, one thing I'm excited about it though, and I have not actually physically touched one yet. We've been here for a couple of days, so we've been in the parks for this visit. Normally I kind of fly into a show and leave, but we've been hanging out for a while, and I thought I would see them for sale in the parks more, but I think they still have so many of the old ones, they're not quite ready for that. But they're starting to. We saw a couple specialty ones. But my understanding is that center circle thing is popping out. And I'm looking forward to thinking, what else are they going to do with that? I would love to have like something like that go into like a fob or a keychain, because I actually don't wear my Magic Band. I wrap it around the strap of my wristlet and wear it like that. I don't like wearing it on my wrist. So I would love to have something that I could clip.
And I think that's the
bag or-
idea. They're going to make
Yeah.
key fobs. They're going to make other things. One of the things that's important to point out, we all thought it was just going to pop out very easy.
Oh, and I understand it doesn't. It's quite,
just
which is
regard
probably
it.
a good thing. I mean, you don't necessarily want it to pop out easily, but so it'll be interesting to see.
That's sort of the meat and bones of your Magic Band.
I kind
You
of
don't
think this
lose
is
it.
the start, and I have been hearing now from clients that they are starting to ship.
Yes, they are. Absolutely.
Now, there has been a couple instances where people still got the old ones, so I'm guessing it's an inventory thing with certain colors. So maybe as a color was gone, they started replacing them with the new ones. So they are starting to ship. If you still get an old one, it's possible, but I would think in the next 2 to 4 weeks we're going to start to see them all ship with the new.
It's also my understanding that it's all or nothing. They're not going to give you half new,
Right?
half
Yeah, I
old
do understand
ones.
that as well. Yeah.
So kind of exciting, kind of interesting. I know people get very excited about the different colors and stuff. It doesn't do anything for me. but-
I have every color. I like it. It's always, what are we going to order next?
I'm just going to put it out there. I love Magic Band 2.0. I've got mine. I ordered it and it came in the mail. I was lucky I got one of the 2.0 ones. I've wore it a few times. It's immensely more comfortable
Is
than
it?
the previous versions. Yeah, it's the shape of the puck actually allows it to breathe underneath, which is very nice because I always found it to be too clammy around my wrist.
And that's
before,
what I find as well. And is it like
Yeah.
a little bit of a softer, more pliable?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, moving on to number 4.
I just want you to know that I don't think that's a reason to come to the parks.
You don't?
No. I think it's great. It's a perk.
First of all, 2 out of 3 and already you're negative.
No, I'm not being negative.
Just kidding.
You asked if we thought these were reasons to visit. I don't.
I was only kidding. I don't want your opinion on
I
anything.
do think getting a I do think getting a Magic Band is a perk of staying on site. When you
Absolutely.
see what these cost, and this stay, we're staying at the Swan, and so we didn't have that whole order your Magic Band, get your Magic Band. We don't have it. We've been doing some things at the park where it would have been really convenient. It was like, oh, I miss not just paying with my Magic Band. So it's interesting how already it's become part of our regular almost culture of visiting Disney World. So I do think, I am a fan of Magic Bands, so I do think Magic Bands are.
There's always something nice about getting something.
Right.
Right. So as part of your vacation in the past, you used to get your documents, and that
Yeah.
was fine. I think getting this box,
Right.
how cool it is, the presentation,
And there is
of
value.
it.
You know, there is no other way to get a free Magic Band.
Yeah.
So if you aren't staying at a resort and you do come to the parks, you have to pay $12 to $14 or more per Magic Band, depending on what theming it is. So it is a value. Sometimes things are perceived value. This is an actual value.
Agreed. All right, number 4. Exclusive new Star Wars tour now available at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Okay, let me read a little bit. This 7-hour experience led by a Star Wars, quote unquote, all in the know tour guide allows you to experience Star Tours, go inside and do character meet and greets, screen Star Wars Path of the Jedi, enjoy Star Wars themed menu items at the Backlot Express, blah, blah, blah. You also wrap up with the dessert party that Tracy
Right.
was talking about. So there's a value there for sure. The price is $129 per adult, actually per guest. It's not even different prices for kids. and you have to book this in advance. I got to tell you, I don't know that I want to do anything at Disney for 7 hours straight. So
We've done a couple of the other tours where they were a little bit longer. I think it depends on the interest. Obviously, we've talked about it. This wouldn't be of my interest. I think my husband would love this day. I think a Star Wars fan would love this day. And when you look at the price, $129 sounds like a lot.
7 hours.
It is.
Yeah.
But that dessert party we were talking about is $69. So now that's included. Now you've paid an extra $60 to have this experience for the day. So I think then the value starts to skew a little bit for the fan. So this is one of those things that, the family does because they're all fans, or maybe I would do as a birthday present to my husband, or, and then he'd owe me too, so it just depends.
when you want to get them out of your hair for 7 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, honey, this is for you.
So I do think there's definitely some value in this tour, especially the fact that it includes the dessert party. Again, I think this is all part of, it's almost like, what was it, 1, 2, and 4 now are
Star
all
Wars.
talking about Star Wars. So I think combined, these would be a reason for a Star Wars fan to visit. I don't know that any one on its own would make me or make anybody really plan a vacation.
That is true. It is, I'm trying to see, I'm going forward. It's not on the list, but there is now a new Star Wars themed after hours party. So it's a hard ticketed event. So that might be added to the whole
The
Star
Star
fan
Wars
thing.
Galactic Night, I think
Sure.
they're calling it. And with the Star Wars tour, just before we go on that, it's only happening a couple days a week. As of right now, the information I have, it's Monday and Saturday. I don't know if that'll change going forward, but
Yeah, I'm sure these are limited because you got to get that all in the know tour guide. I'm sure he's not available every day. All
I'm
right.
assuming it's a he.
That's true. Could be she. Number 5, speaking of after hours, Disney after hours events return January through March of 2017. This is the party in the Magic Kingdom. It is a hard ticketed event, meaning that it costs you, in addition to other costs, $119 per adult or child, not including tax. List of dates. I'm sure you can find these on various websites.
the first one actually happened yesterday, I think.
January 20th, correct? It's a 3-hour event. It takes place after the park closes, limited to a certain number of events, and 25 attractions, character greetings, and other areas are open within the Magic Kingdom. If you are so inclined to do a party, this is certainly something that you should consider. We've done these in the past. Less crowds, less lines. Always a lot of fun. You get to sort of walk on certain rides.
I think they're including drinks and snacks too, aren't they?
And not
know
a
they
I believe
haven't-
soft
yeah,
drinks.
Yeah, exactly. But like water and like an ice cream bar or Mickey bar or something. We were actually going to try to fit that in this week, and because of recording this morning, I didn't think it would be a good idea for me to be in the Magic Kingdom in the middle of the night. But I think there's some value here. I can tell you this is something that we would pay for as adults. I don't know if I had a family of 4 if my perspective would be the same, but paying for 2 people, this is definitely something that we would do.
Well, this is what I remember growing up. We would go to the park at certain times and it would be just
Absolutely.
dead empty. So you could go from thing to thing and not wait in line
Exactly.
at all. And some things they would let you ride over and over again. I get the feeling, I understand that this is what this is, that there is unlimited access for that amount of time.
A little bit like what the Halloween and Christmas parties used to be like when they were first out. They were so, you were paying for an exclusive
Right.
low crowd event. This is how this feels to me. I think also because of the cost and because of the hour, there would be less, less younger kids and stuff as well. So for us, this is something I'm beyond. The Christmas party and Halloween parties are not where I choose to spend my money anymore. But this is something that I think I would do.
This is also positioned at a time when there isn't other things going on.
Right.
There are not other parties going on.
Exactly.
So
You're not
Disney's
going to conflict.
taking advantage of the fact that, they have an opportunity these evenings to keep the Magic Kingdom open later.
And there's not really slow times anymore. Like we used to come annually in January, a week, sometimes 2 weeks. That was our trip to get away from the winter. And this is the first time I've been in a while in January. I'm surprised at how busy it is. Like I was expecting, it's going to be so quiet. We're going to be not so much. I mean, it is quieter. Like I've been here during really busy times lately, so I definitely see a difference. But it's not like January a few years ago. That's for sure. Now
you
it is
used to
like
be able to
January-
walk down Main Street and not see
yeah,
anybody.
Exactly. You used to, throw a football through Liberty Square and not hit a person. But now it's definitely not like that. Now it's still, you know, things are down for refurb and it's still kind of readjusting season, but it is definitely not as quiet. So a party like this, there's some value there.
The other thing to keep in mind too is this is something you position in your trip around perhaps not having a ticket.
Yes.
So you might be able to get an extra day out of your vacation and buy one less park day on a ticket, and that sort of evens
Right.
out. You wouldn't want to do it on a day you're going to be in the park. That's a little exhausting.
Oh, people,
Or if you're here for a short time
Yeah.
and you want to see a lot,
Yeah,
this is the way to do it.
absolutely. All right, moving on to number 6. More dining to debut at Disney Springs.
There you go.
Yep, sort of a vague thing, but we know that coming up in 2017 is going to be Planet Hollywood Observatory will be open, Paddlefish, The Polite Pig, the Edison, and Wine Bar George. Here's the deal. Anything new, food and drink wise, at Disney is always a good thing. Disney Springs, I think, is proving itself time and time again that they are opening these really great establishments. So these are definitely worth looking forward to. I am not looking forward to Planet Hollywood. However, everyone is telling me keep an open mind. It's a different chef. It's going to be a different menu.
yeah, and Guy
Fieri.
Fieri is, you know, we were down in Disney Springs the other day, and we were up at the Coke Lounge, and he was there doing some promo work outside. So we got some pictures up above. So there's some menu items out. I'm seeing pictures of the menus, hearing talks of the menus. It kind of sounds interesting what they're doing. We'll see, but I can tell you I'm really liking everything else. I mean, we just did Homecoming again for dinner. It's become a must-do for us now.
I
when we
agree.
come
That's
on a
my
trip.
favorite.
Yeah, we really enjoy it. I've done STK, which I enjoyed. That would be more of a special occasion kind of thing for us. We did Morimoto. I'm just really liking what they're doing there. So I'm looking forward to these new restaurants.
I'm looking forward to the Polite Pig.
Yeah.
The Polite Pig is an offshoot of a restaurant that has been in Winter Park for several years called the Ravenous Pig. And the food was wonderful when we were there. It's a sort of gastro pub kind of thing. But I'm looking forward to that. I have a feeling that's going to be very popular.
When I think of bringing guests, though, to the parks, I think of what draws people to come from other states or other countries. And I don't know that restaurants in Disney Springs would do that. I think these are really great for locals, really great for people like my husband and I who come a lot, and we don't spend all of our time in the parks anymore. We're looking for other things to do. A nice dinner out would be more of our thing. So I don't know, again, that this would bring me from my, this is not going to excite me when I'm sitting in Canada going, okay, now I'm going.
Disney Springs in and of itself is the draw.
Yes, Disney Springs
Coming
has
and
become a
seeing
destination.
The changes that have occurred, seeing how beautiful it is, seeing the new stuff that goes in. And I think these are just pluses. It's
Yeah.
nice to know they're not just going to sort of stop and nothing new. The Edison, I've been talking about the Edison now for 2 years.
Right.
I'm really excited to see what that looks like. I'm hoping it's not a disappointment. I'm hoping it's not something I've built up so much that it winds up being a disappointment. I know you were looking forward to that, Kevin.
I like the idea of it.
All right, moving on to number 7. There's going to be some milestone races for Run Disney.
Safe to say that's not going to get anybody at this table motivated to book a
Really?
trip.
20th anniversary of the Walt Disney World Half Marathon, a whole bunch of other races, the Princess Half Marathon after the film Beauty and the Beast is released. Run Disney in and of itself has become a juggernaut, and it has produced revenue and crowds at Disney during a time when they didn't usually have these
Right.
crowds.
Yep.
So people are into it. People love it. If you are a runner, if you are a Disney
And a
fan,
Disney fan, you get to run through the parks.
Yeah.
right, it is a plus.
Yeah.
It's a win for everybody.
Not all races. Just going to put that out there. Not all races run through the parks. 'Cause, somebody's going to write us and say. But I can tell you, there's a whole culture in doing the 10K last year. Chris just did another 10K. There's a whole world there that we really didn't know anything about. There's a whole culture of people who do this on a regular basis, who collect and have beautiful displays for their medals. So I do think for those that are interested, this is a draw to the parks. these races, coming for the weekend, doing these events. I know a lot of people who are doing them on a regular basis.
It's also not just the race. Disney makes a big
Right.
deal about it. You mentioned the medals. The
And
medals.
you get to carbo load.
You do get the carbo.
That's my favorite
That was
part.
my favorite part. It's like, that was my favorite part. Oh, darn. I have to eat lots of pasta tonight.
And then you have to run then the next day. You
No,
can't
you
just
No one
carbo-
said that. There were no rules.
Yeah.
You can't carbo load for a Downton Abbey marathon.
And I can dispel that rumor. Not everybody runs.
That is true. The nice thing about it too is right. You're not just the hardcore runner. There are people who jog, who walk, who
Yeah.
do it just for the
Yeah.
fun of it.
Chris has done 2 10Ks and he's done a half. I did the 1 10K, and he has not run all of them. He, walk or do a walk run kind of thing. They are anything above the 5 is a timed race, so you do have to keep up a pace, or they will
Knock you down
sweep
with
you.
a truck.
Yeah, they'll come and pick you up in the bus, and they have really cute little ladies carrying the balloons that will tell you it's time for you to go. But they do tell you it's time for you to go.
See, in my head, I think
So-
they've got like a car with a cattle catcher on the front, and they just scoop people up.
No,
That to me would be
it's-
fun.
I would be the one who would be standing around waiting for the bus.
When is that bus going
Where's
to
the
get
bus
here?
coming?
I'm waiting for my bus. All
I've
right.
carbo loaded and everything. Where's the bus?
I think the bus ride would even not be worth it.
Maybe
Get on
not.
the bus. Number 8. This year, first ever International Festival of the Arts begins
Yay.
January 13th.
I did it. I did it yesterday.
Awesome.
We actually, this is one of the reasons why we came down early. We are so excited anytime there's something new. Just, we come a lot, we've done a lot. So there's something new. And we did like the old Masters of the Arts, I think they called it, at Downtown Disney.
The Festival of the
Festival
Masters.
of the-
This is
yeah.
a sore spot. Tread carefully.
Yeah. But I think this is something different. The thing is this, what happened in Downtown Disney is never going to happen again. It did nothing to,
I know.
yeah.
Take her passport.
No. We just, we need a hard dose of reality. It's just not going to happen anymore.
You don't know that,
I'm pretty sure.
but you don't know.
It's not, but I could see how this is going to try to, there were independent people there. I think we saw 3 booths. Now, and keep in mind, we didn't see all of the booths, but we saw 3 that were from outside vendors, selling things that were not necessarily Disney, that were other things. I enjoyed the Herb Ryman display. There was a small little display of his, and you would enjoy I get my Blairs mixed
Mary
up.
Blair.
Not Linda, right? No, Mary Blair. You would
Completely different art.
you would enjoy, So there
Different
are some
oeuvre.
things to enjoy, and I like the fact that they've included some of the food as well. We were there on a very slow day, and there was some waits for the food. It was worth the wait with what we had. I could see that becoming a problem as it's a crowded day. I know Chris was going today, and it's a Saturday, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. So I'm worried that they're going to start kind of scaling back the quality of what they're doing and the uniqueness of how they're doing the displays and stuff. So there were lots of things I liked about it. It's kind of cool. It's a slow time of year to have something else. I do think they've decided that food booths in Epcot make money. So now they're starting to kind of, okay, why can we put food booths in Epcot now? So there's a little bit of that going on. I liked it. It's the first year. There's some kinks. I'd like to see where they go with it.
We have not been, so for full disclosure, full honesty, we have not been yet. We tried to get there, but life is a little hectic at the moment. All I can say is the secondhand information I've received from most people is that they thought it was a nice thing. However, it needs to be fleshed out more. That it feels like it's perhaps the first year, and we're experimenting and what is going to work and what isn't going to work, and perhaps even this year it'll get better over time. But they feel that it's not like Food and Wine. It's not that
No,
sort
absolutely
of
not.
draw. So.
And I hope it doesn't become that. Like, I hope the food doesn't become the focus. We have reserved seating tonight to see the Broadway shows that they do in the American Theater. I think they're doing it. They had released something for annual pass holders where you could go and you could reserve
Right.
seating for that. So we have that for tonight. So we're going to see the show. We haven't done that yet. It's interesting to me how they're implementing different types of arts. I oversaw they were doing a presentation on floral arrangement, where I think you had to pay a fee. I'm sure you had to pay a fee to do it, but you had they were doing something from Disney Floral, and they were creating. So they were, so I like how they're implement different areas of the arts. There were a lot of different things for different interests. I do think what I read about last week, I thought I saw some improvements this week over what I read last week. I think this is a work in progress. I can tell you there were a ton of suits walking around everywhere we were yesterday.
Oliver, you had a chance to do this?
I certainly did. Exactly. I'm in the same boat as Tracy. You can see the potential. It's right now. It's a good event. It just needs tweaking in places.
Yeah.
I would say it's certainly not on the scale right now of Food and Wine or Flower and Garden. The food was a huge highlight. They've definitely figured out that the food booths make money, and I will say that the food in itself is pieces of art. So they're taking a lot longer to prepare it. They're taking a lot longer to get it to you. But when you get it, you enjoy just the visual of the food as well, just because that's what they're striving to do. They've got some very, very interesting food there as well this year. I'd say the food is equally as good as the Food and Wine Festival, if not slightly better, to be honest.
Most of what I had yesterday I thought was better than what I've had at Food and Wine lately.
Yeah.
I find Food and Wine is becoming very mainstream in what they're almost assembly line, the way that they're popping those plates out. And I found this kind of went back to what I felt Food and Wine used to be. I don't think at this point this event is a destination or a reason to come like Food and Wine would be. I know a lot of people plan their vacation because of Food and Wine, Flower and Garden, the same thing. This event isn't there yet. It may get there, it may not, but I can kind of see some potential.
What I think is nice is that it feels again like we're going a little bit back to old Disney where there's a perk now.
Right.
There's something in addition. It's not an extra cost unless you want to buy something, but it's something for you to do there. That's beyond just going to the park.
And there were several artists. We love looking at Disney art, and we have a few pieces at home, and we've had different artists sign it over the years. So in a lot of the booths, art was being sold, and the artist was there, signing and speaking to people. So it was kind of cool as well.
Excellent. All right, moving on to number 9. A biggie. Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival begins March 1st. Flower and Garden every year is getting longer. Food and Wine every year is getting longer. Now with this Festival of the Arts, we may have an event year-round at Epcot, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I think I like the idea.
March 1st to May 29th, so that's going to be a big season for Flower and Garden. Flower and Garden is always spectacular. Epcot's never more beautiful than during Flower and Garden, for sure.
And it's been, 2 years maybe that they've added the food?
Yeah.
I might be off on that. But they've, again, started utilizing these food booths. And this I would compare more to what Food and Wine is doing, that type of thing. But it adds another element to it. So I think Flower and Garden has been for a while and still remains a reason to visit during that time.
Absolutely. This is definitely a destination.
Yeah.
Flower and Garden also, as the plants mature, Flower and Garden gets more beautiful.
It does.
It's not like you have to be there at the beginning or you're going to miss something. It actually gets even better towards the end.
And especially if your interest lies there. There's so many classes, there's so many people for you to talk to and presentations. So I think definitely a reason to choose this time.
A couple of new things they want to highlight. 2 brand new topiaries, so certainly worth it to come to see Belle and Figment as topiaries. And there's going to be a Cars interactive play garden for kids in honor of the upcoming Disney Pixar film Cars 3.
Isn't the Figment topiary already out?
That's for the arts. That's for this one.
You think there's going to be another topiary?
I do. I think he's going to be a completely different outfit, completely different pose.
They're going to grow a sweater on them by the end of
Time for the sweater to
They've
grow.
planted the sweater now.
Yeah.
In addition, along with that, number 10, new Garden Rocks dining packages to debut at Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival.
Yeah.
On select days, a number of Epcot restaurants, you can combine dinner and reserve seating for performances of the Garden Rocks concert series, which is pretty much best way to put it.
Are they still alive?
Right, exactly. We call it the Are They Still Alive concert series. Folks who are perhaps not most current performers.
That was really a horrible thing to say. Some of them are really good.
Some of them are very good, but it's not like you're going to go see Taylor Swift or someone who's very, very current.
Not yet, anyway. It'll be a few years before Taylor Swift is done.
We'll have Taylor Swift there.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? I think for a lot of people, it's nostalgia.
It's also a great way to see people that you wished you had always seen. We went and saw Little Richard.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is with these dining packages, I'm kind of over the dining packages. They tried to sell them for this event that's going on now, the Festival of the Arts. I'm guessing they didn't sell too many, which is why they started showing or offering reserved seating to annual pass holders. But I don't imagine that there's... I mean, I guess if you're coming here and you're having dinner anyway, maybe book a dining package. But I don't think it's going to have the same urgency that
As
something like
Candlelight
Candlelight Processional
Yeah,
does.
exactly.
And I think
Also-
they saw that success and thought, oh, hey, I know how we can capitalize on that here, here, and here. I'm not sure that it'll be the same,
Occasionally, the artist might do it, depending on who's performing. It might
Right.
be the type of thing where the only way to get a seat could be through this dining package. But unless you want to wait in the standby line.
Oliver, have they announced this year's?
That is a great question. I was trying to think of that whilst you were talking about it. I can't say for sure right now. I've got a feeling that they haven't, but I could be incorrect.
I love it when you validate my question,
Thank you for validating it. All right.
especially when you don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next reason for coming in 2017, new family raft ride at Disney's Typhoon Lagoon water park. Let me see if I can get to this. This experience will immerse you in the story of treasure hunter Captain Mary Oceaneer. You will gently ascend in treasure rafts, only to plunge into a whitewater adventure where you will encounter some of Mary's legendary treasures.
The title of the attraction is Misfortune Falls, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. Right. So I can remember that one.
So, if you're into water parks, if you're into getting wet, if you're into these big rides, certainly always great when there's a new ride, right? We always love new rides.
Yeah, definitely, especially one like this. I believe this is in the water coaster category. So if you're a person that hasn't visited a water park in many years, I would suggest going back because they've improved immensely. The slides aren't what they used to be.
Right.
So these things are a lot more advanced. They don't just go down; they go up too, and they're very, very enjoyable. So it's great.
And
for
when is
families.
I4 or Universal's I4 water park going to open?
Exactly.
That's going to be, I believe. Craig's going to kill me. Next year? No, it's this year.
It's opening
mid
this year.
Yeah, it's mid
Yeah.
this year, summer this year, I believe. Yes.
So there's a whole bunch to choose from.
Right.
Yes.
The volcano of I-4, is that what it's called?
Volcano Bay.
And this is sort of, Disney's got to keep up with the Joneses. They've got to keep up with Universal, and they've got to keep their water parks exciting because Universal's water park will be killer for sure.
Yeah.
Just looking at what's already been built out there.
And if you want to see it, just drive along I4.
Exactly.
There's no
It is
way
a
to
little-
miss it.
It is a little weird, though. You've driven that way, right?
Oh, of course.
Oliver?
Yeah, you cannot
It
miss
is a
it
little
at all.
weird that those slides are like almost over the highway.
Yeah. It's. I'm interested to see how they're going to kind of block it in so you don't see that outside world because right now it looks like wherever you
Unless
stand,
they plant trees on the highway, you're going to see it.
It's.
I don't think they're gonna worry about people seeing in. I think it's gonna be more line of sight.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're gonna load those tubes where you'll see the highway to keep it immersive that way. But I don't think they're gonna build walls or anything like that.
I gotta say, as somebody who does not like to be seen in her bathing suit too often in public, the idea that the entire I-4 is going to watch me go down the tube is not so appealing.
Just the people in the immediate
it's not
vicinity.
Yeah, exactly. Now there's going to be people, stopped in traffic on I-4, literally watching me go through the tube.
Is that a red-headed ghost on the slide? Oh, that's just crazy.
Exactly.
All right, moving on to the number 12 reason to visit in 2017. Boulder Ridge Cove, Geyser Point Bar and Grill, opening summer 2017.
Okay, this is under the category of we're stretching now.
Really, this is
Is this one of those thin ones you talked about at the beginning?
Yeah, I did. Disney's Wilderness Lodge in 2017, the Boulder Ridge Cove Pool, will be like any other pool at Disney, and the Geyser Point Bar and Grill, a new quick service eatery. So these are going to be in additions to folks staying at.
These are lovely things if you were planning on coming. Oh, look, there's something to go see.
Exactly,
I don't
that's
think
right.
anybody's buying plane tickets for the Boulder Ridge Cove.
If you're sitting at home and thinking, all right, that quick service, this is the reason I've been waiting.
Exactly.
And that's the reason, you were just really looking for a reason.
I also have to say too, this is not a reason for someone to book at
No.
this particular resort either. It's not like, oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Right.
There's a new quick service
Right.
thing, but it's always nice when there's
Oh,
something.
look, cheeseburgers and french fries.
It's something to get excited about, not a reason to.
Yes, it is
I'm
exactly
not even
what
sure
it is.
that qualifies.
I
It's
think-
something you.
It's more
Oh,
like
look, something new.
It's more like something you stumble upon.
Right. If you were staying at that resort,
Yes.
it's a reason. Like, oh, good. There's going to be a new quick service while I'm there by the
Exactly.
pool. That pool's going to be cool. That's about as far as the conversation would go, I would imagine. I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, since that's so exciting, let's move on to number 13. Actually, big one. This is the big one. Pandora, the World of Avatar, opening summer of 2017.
I really think you should put a question mark at the end.
Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park.
Or the letters ish.
Yeah.
I believe it is going to happen. There is just too much.
But you
for
are the
17.
eternal optimist.
I think they are under a deadline. They are going to open some part of that land for sure in 17. And this has been covered to death on the show. I'm not going to go over what's going to be in Avatar. But here's the deal. This is a whole new land.
Yeah. This is a reason. This is a reason. If you're, and again, I talk about us who are frequent visitors. If you're new to Disney, this alone is not a reason. Because unless you are a really
Huge
big
Avatar
Avatar fan,
fan,
of
right.
course, this alone isn't a reason if you are new, because there's so much for you to experience. You really are going to get a snippet of a lot of things. But for those of us who are fans and frequent visitors, this type of thing is a reason to plan a trip. It's just because we're always, as fans, looking for something new, something different.
And if you're that level of fan,
I'm not a fan
I
of
don't know
Avatar
that
at all.
anybody's booking or looking to plan a trip because of this. This is one of those things that this is going to fit into your
I
already planned trip.
disagree a little bit. I believe that if you are planning a trip to Walt Disney World this year and you are a fan of Avatar or you're looking for the new big thing, you're going to wait until this opens.
Yeah,
that
and I
people
can tell
will
you,
say-
I've never seen Avatar, and I don't believe I would be a fan. It doesn't seem like my type of movie, but I'm excited to see this land because I'm excited to see what Disney has done with it. It was the same thing with Harry Potter at Universal. When that all opened, I had not seen a Harry Potter movie or read a book. And now I've mentioned Star Wars, Harry Potter. People are wondering, what does she do?
You've never read a book?
Never read a book.
Isn't that what she said?
So we had a
did,
little
yeah.
chat earlier before the show started that Tracy likes to work on planes.
Yeah.
I think we should make it she has to read books on planes.
But what is I have since seen
Never
Harry
read a
Potter
book.
movies, and when it was opening, we were going to go see it. I thought, okay, I have to see one to see what this is all about.
Can
but
you read?
I can read. I'm good. I did think
She only
that
reads in Canadian.
I knew that was coming.
I did think Harry Potter was the best themed land that I've seen
Absolutely.
everywhere without
Absolutely.
really being a fan. And I think Avatar, I think I'm going to really appreciate what's been done there outside of not being a fan of the movie. Like I think there's going
I
to
think that's kind of where I sit also.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be cool. I don't know that I'm excited about the connection.
right.
However, look at something like New Fantasyland. Not necessarily geared towards us, but it was great when they opened
Yeah,
New
I love it.
Fantasyland. It was beautiful.
It's fun. We were just walking through there on Thursday, and I said, I really like it back here. Like, I really like how immersive it is. I love the little touches. And I think Avatar Land's going to be like that. I think we all know what Disney does with stuff like this. I think it's going to be incredible. Cars Land, when they had done that in Disneyland.
Yep.
Again, not necessarily, I wasn't the target audience for that, but I can appreciate what's there. I think Avatar Land's going to be the same thing. Looking really forward to this nighttime show that may or may not happen. I hear that it's kind of ready now. So I'm hoping, we've heard loose rumors around the end of May. So
I think
really,
we're going to see a soft opening or a press event or something happen around the end of May, beginning of June. So
Yeah.
we shall see. All right, moving on to number 14, Food and Wine. Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival returns for a record 75 days. I mentioned this earlier. The festivals are getting longer. They're just going to start touching each other eventually.
it's kind of like the Christmas
Not
party
in a
and the
creepy
Halloween
way.
parties. It's the same thing. They just kind of eventually blend. So like tonight's Halloween party, tomorrow night's Christmas party.
Sometimes at the same night.
Right.
I love that.
It's kind of going to be like Cracker Barrel.
Right.
The Christmas decorations come out in May.
Food and wine is always fantastic, always a great time to visit. Even if you're not coming for food and wine, it just makes Epcot a great place to visit.
Also, Food and Wine now takes some planning
Yeah, absolutely.
because there are days that are far more crowded than other
Yeah.
days.
I
Well,
can tell you, if I could do food and wine, I'm becoming less of a fan. I've done it every year for a lot of years, and I'm finding now that it's so crowded, especially on weekends. And I'm finding the quality of what they're doing with the food has really decreased. It's just, and I think it's becoming more. I think it's just because they have to serve so many people in such a short period of time. I don't think that it's the intent. I think if I got something made with the way they intended it for it to be made, it's very good.
Or originally, how it used to
Right.
be more
Yeah.
boutique, sort of, not
Right.
this assembly line. Understood.
Yeah. So, but definitely, if you're going to Food and Wine, if you can try to plan those days to be weekdays, we always try to go, even if we have to go on a weekend, we try to go at 11 o'clock when World Showcase is first opening and kind of get through some of it then. But if you can avoid the weekends, especially weekend evenings, you're going to be happier for it.
Absolutely. All right, number 15. It's going to be the 35th anniversary of Epcot, Kevin. October 1st, 2017.
I always think anniversaries are fun. I think
This-
they're milestones.
I apologize for interrupting you. This gives me hope that perhaps we will see some kind of celebration.
Right.
Well, if Disney has listed it as something, I think they're probably going to have to back that up.
Because usually we go, oh, look, it's an anniversary of a theme park, and then nothing happens.
I think there are a lot of people already gearing up for 2021, which seems so far away, but it's 4 years.
What is
That-
2021?
The 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we're going to see something huge.
I would hope so.
Or
for
100
sure.
cupcakes on Main Street. I don't know. One or the other.
So here's hoping that they do something good to celebrate the 35th anniversary.
It's hard to
of
talk
Epcot.
about this because we don't know what it is.
Right.
But I really hope it's terrific. I hope there are all sorts of commemorative things, and I hope it doesn't last for 18 months.
I think it's going to be in the same vein as the festivals. They've just figured out how well the festivals do. So it's going to be
There's going to be food booths
yeah, it's going to be a 35th anniversary with food booths
and
and
people
other
who were
extra
famous
things.
a while ago.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You figure you crack their code.
We have.
And this does, this is right after Food and Wine, so maybe there'll be sort of an extension of Food and Wine. Oh, no,
It's actually right during
it's
Food
during
and
Food and
Wine.
Wine. Yeah, that's right.
It's going to cover flower and garden, food and wine, and Christmas
And arts.
And arts.
and arts.
All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one is more
Oh,
updates
good Lord.
to Star Wars inspired land.
At this point, does anyone care?
Exactly. And again, this is one of those thin ones, so there's not a reason to visit Walt Disney World, but we're going to get more updates on
There's going to be more mugs and there's going to be more bags.
things that might come to the Star Wars land. So no sort of commitment that anything will happen. We'll be finished.
This is going to draw people out of the Northeast.
Exactly. And then finally, number 17 on our list, return of holiday favorites, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam, and other stuff.
You don't say it as good as Craig.
I do not say as good as Craig. I wouldn't even try. Here's the deal, right? I know it's kind of funny that they've included return of holiday favorites, but if you are planning to come to Walt Disney World during the holidays, you really need to plan now. You really need to think about when you're going to be here, how you're going to spend your money, what resort you're going to come to. You've got to do that in advance because this is a time of year that books up and people always get disappointed. I didn't get the resort I wanted. It's too expensive.
I'm going to add something to the end of this as the holiday favorites. Disney has not released 2018 dates and rates yet. At this point, all you can book is a room-only reservation.
And you don't want to do that if you don't have to.
Right. So just if you're listening, I'm getting a lot of emails. Why can't I book?
Yeah.
Disney releases their dates and rates at some point during the year.
Usually June, sometimes early July even.
Maybe.
You've even seen them in the fall, as late as the fall.
Right.
So it's really...
So if you're looking for 2018, you have to be patient because we just don't have pricing. Disney doesn't give us pricing for this yet. It will be out eventually.
But again, I think that this is really the time you guys should sit down with your families and say, I want to go to Disney during Christmas. Start now. Don't wait. because you're just going to be disappointed. You're not going to get what you want.
And especially if you're getting close to the holiday. If you're getting close to the holiday, the Christmas holiday, the New Year holiday, you're going to have to plan for large crowds of people. So it's kind of you should have military precision with your planning at this point.
Absolutely.
We should, at some point, we may want to do a show about that, planning for crowded times. But one of my tips would be buy a longer ticket. I sometimes have people staying 7 or 8 nights, but condensing that ticket to 4 days because I think, well, we want some rest days. I would suggest you take a 7 or 8 day ticket and plan for rest time during your days.
I would
Because
agree
here's
with
what's
that.
going to happen, right? During those 4 days, you're not going to get a chance to do everything.
You're not. And
And
you're
you're
going to
gonna-
be so exhausted,
lines.
stretching your day so hard because you think today's my ticket day. Whereas if you have a 7 or 8 day ticket, and I can tell you the way Disney's ticket pricing works, it's not like you're paying for 8 one-day tickets. As you get longer, the per day price decreases. So it's not as big of a jump as you may think.
Right. In some instances, it's a few dollars.
That's right.
And if
And
you're
so-
not exhausted, you're going to be tired of people.
You are, and you're not going to be enjoying what you're seeing as much if you have to go from morning to night because today's ticket day. So, if you could go during a really busy time, commit to getting up first thing in the morning, getting there before road drop, spending 4 or 5 hours in the parks in the morning. By the time it gets really busy and crowded, you're ready to go for a rest. Go back to the pool, even if you're not sleeping. Go back and rest and hang out. Then come back a little later, maybe to that park, maybe a different park if you have park hopping. But try to think of your days differently, especially during busy times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially during the holidays, too, because there's going to be after-hours parties that you're
Right.
probably going to
Hours are going to be longer as well, which is a difference to some slower times where the hours may be more condensed. You can have really long park hours. So, you want to maximize your time. So I think this whole list is basically Disney saying, we know there's a lot of exciting things coming that aren't ready yet this year, but there's still a lot of cool things here for you to see.
I agree. I pretty much this is what this is. This is,
Yeah.
we understand that Hollywood Studios has a lot of construction. And we understand that Avatar Land isn't quite done yet, but these are the things to look forward to. And I think it's a good idea to sort of take that assessment at the beginning of the year. When do you want to come? What do you want to see?
Right.
What's important to you for visiting Walt Disney World? Excellent. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode. Appreciate your guys' participation. Thank you all at home for listening and watching. We hope you have a great week, and we hope you have a great vacation.